Hey, pilots and otherwise. So I'm sure there's a few of you wondering what happened overnight. I'm going to tell you. We actually had a really good voice chat, all of us last night, and I know you guys are sick of hearing this, but this will be the last time you're going to hear it. We even had GFC in there. We had all of us in there. Me, GFC, Kevin, 2, Featherway, and Aiden. And by the end of it, it was superb. We had all agreed. Everything was over with. Everything was done. We had discussed everything for about an hour. And, you know, knowing these guys as well as I do, when they start talking, they got probably petabytes of screenshots, messages, you name it. They got it. They're proud of that. So I like to mention to them whenever they're watching me and in these voice chats, they basically have my permission to record it. And of the five of them, I bet you every single one of them did. And I'm hoping they did. So I'm pretty sure there is one. And you know how I know there is one? Because I asked Aiden earlier today if by chance he did in some fashion, some way I asked him or whatever. And he says, nah, there was no recording. Real quick, nah, there was no recording. And that's too bad because that entire discussion pretty much covered everything as far as this whole ordeal goes. So, have had anybody saved that and sent it to someone like Frank or Xavier even, because if they watched that, they would say, "Hey guys, what the hell's going on here?" Um, Frank, he's a little younger than me and a little older than you guys, but he makes the cut as far as GFC goes, and or whoever's running the show there. So Frank, you've heard everything through one side. You've heard everything bad about me, just like everybody else. But I'm going to tell you guys something. Back in 2011 or 12-ish, I think it was, I had met some of the early developers in GeoFS. Um, One of them made the Southwest 737 way back in 2010, I want to say. And that was with Lee Alpha Delta and a few other guys that were involved in the simulator in the early days. They were like early developers. And they were kind of cool in my book in those days. I learned a lot from them. And some of their videos are still out there, and some of them I learned a lot from, and a couple of them I actually built the climb and descent profile that you guys all use from one of those videos. And the one thing I noticed about those guys in those days were how unsociable they were, how leftist they were, they're as radical as Aiden. They didn't want any input from anybody. They didn't really want to fly with other people. They weren't as community orientated as I wanted to be in this community. So by 2016, I started GPG for the purpose of flying with other GeoFS pilots, the way I wanted to with those guys that didn't really want any part of that. And Lee Alpha Delta, he started, well, I don't know who started the official GeoFS server, but that's his baby. And, I saw what was going on in the early days with that server, and I noticed there was nothing going on with that server, multiplayer flight wise. So I took it upon myself to start GPG again, like I said, for multiplayer flight purposes. And Aiden will tell you how well that went for at least 3 years before some certain people came along, Frank. Okay? And Xavier, say if you're watching this, you know, ask them for the copy of that video because I guarantee you one of them has it. Oh, they're deleting it now. That whole conversation covers everything about this entire ordeal. So what happened last night or this morning, depending on what coast you live on or whatever? Got up last night and decided I had let these guys know I was going to join that server. Everything was good. Nothing left to talk about. We were all set. So, they knew my intentions. I didn't say when I was going to do it exactly. I kind of did. But anyway, I tried to join last night and I couldn't do it. I was laying in my bed when I tried to. I was doing it on my phone. I said, "Ah, shit, maybe it's my phone." So I come out to my computer here, try it again, no luck. And actually, before I did that, I read Featherway's message in our little group chat that we have in Discord, and it said at 11:30 last night. He writes, "Looks like we got somewhere. Anything else will have to be dealt with in the morning." This was almost 12 hours after we had cleared things up, or 24 hours. I don't know what it was. It was a long time. And the other guys were all shooting shit with me in that channel. Everything was cool. Everything was cool. They were waiting for me to join that server. So 11:30, I read that message, and I didn't think much of it, you know, until I reread it after I tried to join the server. So it looks like we got somewhere. Yeah, we did. We had all agreed with that, did we not? Anything else will have to be dealt with in the morning. Anything else will have to be dealt with in the morning. I was not aware there was more to this. And Kevin too was on when I told him I couldn't get in that server. And I mentioned a couple of things or whatever, and then he disappeared. So, guys, if that doesn't tell you something's wrong, I don't know what does. I was banned. I was still banned from that server. I couldn't get in. And, and Featherway also says, he says, the doors will be open for you. We just want to make sure we're on the same page. We did that last night or the night, whatever, whenever. We had done that. Something happened that I was unaware of before I joined and found out that I was banned, dude. And I was not made aware that there was still more to discuss here. So that's going to do it for us as far as me trying to get this better. And you, during the day, through Aiden, and by the way, Aiden's been a great contact for me. I mean, I don't know where he is with me. I really don't care anymore. But at least he's been trying, and he's powerless. I could tell he's powerless. He doesn't have any say in the matter. He has to wait hours for answers to questions that I want. You name it, man. There's no communication with these guys. There's something very wrong here still. So I'm all done trying to make this better, and this channel will now be dedicated. I'm going to try to have fun with this now. And I don't know if I'm going to make another channel or not. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do this. But it's going to be all about GeoFS events, and deservedly so. And that's the way it goes. Frank, you can meet me too. Get my side of the story. But that's how you guys are. You don't want my side of the story. You want to go by GFC's side of the story, everybody else's side of the story. I can't not win against all of you guys. So have fun.